HOA claimed my security post wasn't legal. I showed my defense contract and won in court. Have you ever wondered what happens when a nosy neighbor with too much power picks a fight they can't win? In the quiet suburban enclave of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and picket fences reigned supreme, a storm was brewing. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Homeowners Association, had set her sights on Marcus, a reserved veteran who'd built a small security post in his backyard. She called it an eyesore and a violation, claiming it was illegal. But Marcus wasn't just any homeowner, was a man with a secret that would turn Karen's crusade into a spectacular downfall. Marcus had moved to Willow Creek seeking peace after years of high-stakes work as a private military contractor. His modest home was his sanctuary, but the small, unobtrusive security post in his backyard was non-negotiable. It wasn't a shed or a gazebo, it was a reinforced structure equipped with surveillance tech, built to monitor his property due to the sensitive nature of his past work. The post blended into the landscape, barely noticeable behind a row of evergreens, but Karen, with her clipboard and unyielding sense of authority, noticed it. She stormed over one sunny afternoon, her voice shrill enough to scatter the neighborhood birds. "That thing is against HOA regulations," she declared, waving a copy of the community bylaws. "It's coming down or you're facing fines and a lawsuit." Marcus, calm as ever, tried to explain. "It's for security, Karen. It's not hurting anyone." But Karen wasn't listening. To her, the post was a personal affront, a blemish on her vision of suburban perfection. She rallied the HOA board, sent official notices, and even posted about the illegal structure on the neighborhood's private X group, painting Marcus as a rogue who thought he was above the rules. The fines started piling up, $50 a day, then $100. Neighbors whispered, some siding with Karen's crusade for uniformity, others quietly rooting for Marcus, who'd always been polite but kept to himself. What Karen didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a homeowner with a quirky shed. His security post was tied to a classified Department of Defense contract, a precaution mandated by his former employer due to the sensitive intelligence he'd handled overseas. The post wasn't just legal, it was a federal requirement. Marcus had hoped to keep this under wraps, valuing his privacy, but Karen's relentless campaign left him no choice. He gathered his documentation, including a letter from the DOD, and hired a lawyer, Sarah, a sharp-witted attorney who specialized in property disputes. Sarah warned Marcus that HOAs could be ruthless, but when she saw the contract, her eyes lit up. "This," she said, holding the sealed envelope, "is going to be fun." The twist came when Karen's own son, Ethan, a college freshman, overheard his mother's rants about Marcus. Ethan, who'd been mentored by Marcus in a local veterans outreach program, knew there was more to the story. He'd seen Marcus's quiet competence, the way he carried himself with a soldier's discipline, and he suspected his mother was in over her head. One evening, Ethan slipped Marcus a text, "Mom's planning to escalate this at the next HOA meeting. She's got a lawyer now. Be ready." Marcus thanked him, realizing the kid's loyalty was a wild card that could shift the tide. Ethan's tip gave Sarah extra time to prepare, digging into HOA bylaws and finding inconsistencies in Karen's claims. The bylaws, it turned out, had no specific clause banning security structures. Karen had been banking on vague, aesthetic rules to bully Marcus. The courtroom showdown was electric. Karen, dressed in a crisp blazer, took the stand with the confidence of someone who'd never lost an HOA battle. She presented photos of Marcus's post, calling it a militarized monstrosity that lowered property values. The HOA's lawyer argued that Marcus had violated community standards and refused to comply with fines, painting him as defiant. The gallery, packed with Willow Creek residents, buzzed with anticipation. Karen's allies nodded along, while others, including Ethan, watched with bated breath. Then Sarah stood up, her voice steady but laced with steel. She introduced Marcus's defense contract, a redacted but official DOD document that outlined the necessity of the security post. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with a penchant for fairness, leaned forward as Sarah explained, "This isn't a shed. It's a federally mandated security measure tied to Mr. Thompson's service to this country. The HOA has no jurisdiction over it." Karen's face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Sarah didn't stop there. She revealed the HOA's overreach, citing the lack of a clear bylaw violation and Karen's pattern of harassing residents over minor issues like Mrs. Patel's garden gnome or Mr. Lopez's basketball hoop. The judge's ruling was swift and brutal. Not only was Marcus's post deemed legal, but the HOA was ordered to refund all fines and cover his legal fees. Karen's campaign had backfired spectacularly, exposing her as a petty tyrant who'd misused her power. The courtroom erupted in murmurs as Karen slumped in her seat, her authority crumbling. Ethan, sitting in the back, gave Marcus a subtle nod, a small act of defiance against his mother's reign. Outside, neighbors who'd once sided with Karen began questioning her leadership, and posts on X started circulating, with hashtags like Willow Creek Karen trending locally. Karen's downfall didn't end in court. The HOA board, humiliated by the loss, held an emergency meeting where residents demanded her resignation. Mrs. Patel, emboldened by Marcus's victory, brought up Karen's past oversteps, from fining a disabled veteran for a wheelchair ramp to threatening a single mom over her kids' chalk drawings. The tide had turned, and Karen, once untouchable, was voted out as president. She retreated from public view, her X account going silent, her clipboard gathering dust. Marcus, meanwhile, kept his post and his privacy, though he did invite Ethan over for a barbecue as a thank you, cementing their unlikely alliance. In the end, Marcus's quiet strength and a single piece of papera defense contract had dismantled Karen's empire of control. Willow Creek felt lighter, as if a cloud had lifted. Neighbors started talking more, not just about Karen's defeat but about what truly mattered: community, not conformity. Marcus's victory wasn't just about a security post, it was a reminder that standing up to petty tyranny could inspire change. So, what do you think? Who was in the right here? Should Marcus have compromised to keep the peace, or was Karen's comeuppance exactly what she deserved? Share your thoughts, because in a neighborhood like Willow Creek, everyone's got an opinion.